Hello, I'm Bernie Hayes. Today we'll be talking to an author, Dr. Perrie Daniel Gibson, today on The Bernie Hayes Show. And welcome back, Dr. Perrie Daniel Gibson, also known as Yakanan Ami. Welcome.
Hey, Bernie. Thank you. Welcome.
Good
it's
to see
a pleasure.
you, man.
It's good seeing you again as well.
And you have a brand new book.
I do.
What's the title?
Live or Die Trying, inspired by 50 Cent.
So, My Journey to Freedom, Forgiveness, and Healing. What does that mean?
Well, Bernie, my journey to forgiveness, freedom, and healing is basically a spiritual journey for me.
Okay.
I've always fought for freedom, justice, equality, and equity. And so this is a very personal journey for me, both spiritually, physically, and mentally as well.
What's the content of the book? I have not read it, had a chance to read it, but tell us about the content.
You definitely got to read the book. So this book is a memoir. It's my first book ever written. It's a 3-part series. So part 1, part 2, part 3, or books 1, books 2, and books 3. They'll be released soon. They've already been published, but the audience should expect to see 3 books. But this is the first book that will be released on October 31st of this year, which is also a very significant day for me. It marks the 21st anniversary of my release from prison when I was 14 years old as a young teen. So it marks the 21st anniversary for me, and this book has been 10 years in the making. So I'm really looking forward to the response from the audience.
Is this a celebration for you, more or less?
Well, I wouldn't necessarily say it's a celebration, but it is another level of achievement for me. I've gone through some heartaches, I've experienced relationship trauma, and so I'm talking about some of that and how I overcame the relationship trauma, parental alienation, going through custody battles, child support, divorce, failed relationships. So I'm talking about a combination of some of these things in this memoir, especially social justice concerns. I'm talking about those matters too.
Tell us about the forgiveness part.
Sure. You know, Bernie, for years, in fact, most of my life I had an issue with forgiving others that I knew and I felt deliberately did something to offend me, did something so wrong that I thought was unforgivable. And, you know, it wasn't until a few years ago that I had to learn how to forgive myself first and foremost, right? Because a lot of times I blame myself, Bernie, for having those type of relationships where I felt that I may have wronged someone or someone may have wronged me and I didn't forgive them. So I harbored that and I carried that for years. And it caused me a lot of hurt and pain and stress, mental stress.
It's also to healing. Tell us about the healing part.
Yes. So I had to learn how to forgive myself first and foremost so that I can heal and get beyond the hurt, the stress, the bitterness, because it was literally killing me. I experienced a lot of health issues, complications as a result of not forgiving others for what I felt was injustices done to me intentionally, whether it was the false accusations, whether it was just wrongful acts that was committed against me.
Okay. So Dr. Yakanan Ami, where'd that name come about? That's a spiritual name, you say?
It is. So, Bernie, when I was 18 years old, I was in the hole, in isolation segregation in Statesville Correctional Center. And I received that name by my spiritual leader at the time. I was studying the Hebraic faith, Judaism, and Ben Ami, he wrote me a letter from Dimona, Israel, and he bestowed that name upon me. And Yakanan means God is compassionate and merciful. And I thought, this is really interesting. I likened myself to the story of Malcolm X, how when Malcolm X was in prison and he had this angel appear before him in the form of Honorable Elijah Muhammad.
Right.
And that was my story. All right, I envisioned myself being in that environment with Ben Ami being the angel that rescued me from isolation confinement, because I was in a hole for 3 years, and it was a very tough time for me. So I needed that. I needed to know that God was compassionate and merciful in spite of my shortcomings, in spite of the things that I've done wrong in my life. And so that healing started way back then when I was 18, and it continues today.
Would you consider yourself a violent person during that time until you got this epiphany?
No, I wasn't a violent person. I was falsely accused of a crime that I didn't commit when I was 14 years old. And I take full responsibility because I chose to hang around the youth that I was hanging around with, my friends, so to speak. And I talk about it in this book, Bernie. I talk about some of those experiences, what transpired in the book, what happened when I was 14 years old. And I mention it today, Bernie, because unfortunately it has cast its shadow over me for all my life. It has closed a lot of doors. It has opened some doors in some cases as well. But trouble is so easy to get into and very difficult to get out of. And I had to learn that as a youth, going through what I went through at that very young age, we have to be careful and cognizant of who we choose in our lives as friends, who are we referring to as our friends, and being accountable for our own actions.
So who's the book written for?
So this book is written for anyone that's ever experienced relationship trauma. It's written for the youth that are experiencing prison, school to prison pipeline. There's a lot of that going on. This book is written for any melanated person that can really identify with my struggles. I grew up in a poverty-stricken neighborhood, and when I was 14, as I explained, I did some time in prison for a crime that I didn't commit. I never snitched on those people that were involved with, in this case, with me. Instead, they put the blame on me at that age. And so I grew up under a code, Bernie. Never snitch. If you get caught for a crime, you just do your time.
Or is this in Illinois, Missouri, or in the area?
Yeah, so this was in Illinois, Bernie.
Okay.
It was in Illinois, Granite City, Illinois, to be exact. And it happened back in 1995. So it happened quite some time ago.
Yeah. But now this book, you're hoping will reach those youths, incarcerated youth, or just youth in general? Well,
my goal is for it to reach youth in general.
Okay.
Because I think this book has something that can really, that the youth can benefit from. So it's not just about my story. It's not just about my hurt, my past, my trauma, my freedom, my healing. It's about giving something back to our youth, something that I didn't have as a child. I didn't have that positive role model. I didn't have someone that I felt that I could look up to when I was going through my pre-adolescence and then adolescent years. It wasn't until, unfortunately, I became incarcerated when I actually had gotten into it by some older gentlemen.
The release date, October 31st, which is Halloween, is that any significance?
Yeah, Bernie. I thought it was a trick, definitely not a treat. Right? In fact, my release date was October 21st or October 31st, 2003. And it didn't feel real. It didn't feel real, Bernie. But that day marked a new chapter in my life, a new beginning.
Okay. Let's take a short break and come back and talk about that.
Sure.
My guest is Dr. Perrie Daniel Gibson, and also known as Yakanan Ami. And we're here at the New Life Evangelistic Center, 2428 Woodson Road in Overland, Missouri. Reverend Larry Rice has been providing services for those in need for more than 52 years. I'm Bernie Hayes. We'll be back with our guest after this.
Hey, viewers of the Bernie Hayes Show. Have you ever seen so many people As you travel around the streets of St. Louis City, St. Louis County, over in Illinois, Jefferson County, St. Charles County, that are homeless, so many out on street corners, so many people are having to sleep outside in vacant buildings. The New Life Evangelistic Center's got teams going out every day, working among those individuals, taking them hundreds of bottles of water every week, hundreds and hundreds of sandwiches. And now as winter comes upon us, we're having to get blankets and sleeping bags and tents, long underwear, even making little canned heaters. Just so many, many needs. And that's why your involvement in New Life Evangelistic Center is so very important. You could be a volunteer and go out on the streets with us. Call us at 314-421-3020. During this holiday season, you could actually help make these canned heaters. We'll show you how to do it, where you get a gallon can and put some sand in it, and then you put a smaller soup can in there and a candle in the middle of that and a quart can over that. I mean, just a lot of creative things New Life Evangelistic Center is doing. That's why we really want to encourage you to go to our website at nlecstl.org to learn about them there. Feel free to call us at 314-421-3020. Please remember the work of New Life Evangelistic Center in your prayers, and please share that much needed gift. New Life receives no city, state, or federal dollars, and your giving is so very, very important, and it goes so far in New Life Evangelistic Center. We have a dedicated team of volunteers and trainees that take every dollar that you send in and provide $3 worth of direct services helping the poor and the homeless, the fatherless, the widowed. Please get your business involved, your church involved, and send those gifts to New Life Evangelistic Center, P.O. Box 473, St. Louis, Missouri, that's 63166, or you can give online at nlecstl.org. We need your partnership at this particular time. Our teams are going out daily among the poorest of the poor, and we need your help now as we move in these winter months. Your gifts, your prayers are absolutely essential at this moment.
Welcome back. My guest is Dr. Perrie Daniel Gibson, and we're talking about a book, a brand new book that he has. It's called Live or Die Trying: My Journey to Freedom, Forgiveness, and Healing. Now, Doctor, would you prefer being called Dr. Ami or Dr. Gibson?
You know, Dr. Ami is a spiritual name. I've since then transcended that name. Professionally, I'm known as Dr. Perrie Daniel Gibson, or just Doc. But my friends and people that I have a relationship with, a close relationship with, they just call me King Ya. But, you know, Bernie, I've been knowing you for some time. Yeah. And so, you know, whatever you feel like calling me, I'm okay.
King Ya.
Yeah, that's fine.
That's wonderful. Okay. Now, the book itself, tell us how can we get it and how can we reach you and get more information about it?
Yeah, sure. So the book can be found on Amazon. We have a release date of October 31st of this year. So, but pre-orders, you know, they can pre-order the book now. And this is book 3. So you guys have not read book 1 and book 2 yet. It's in the making. I decided to publish and release book 3 first.
That I don't get. Now, tell me why this is book 3,
yes,
not book 1.
Correct. Or book 2. It's not book 1 or book 2. It's book 3. Correct. And, you know, I decided to publish or to release, because they're all published, but I decided to release book 3 first, Bernie, because of the significance of the time constraints. My goal is to leave a legacy behind for my children. Okay. And I lost custody of my children over 7 years ago due to false accusations made against me by my ex-wife and her co-conspirators. And so up until this point, my children don't even know the truth. They don't know what happened, right? If I were to die today, my children, God forbid, they would know the truth. Yeah. No one would know my truth. Okay. So my goal is to share my truth with the world, but also share my truth with my children.
Okay. It's a pretty heavy book. How many pages to this book 3?
Book 3 has about 362 pages. It's a 6x9 perfect bound book. We'll also be releasing a hardback book as well. The ebook that's available online right now has approximately, I think, about 230 pages. It's 8.5 by 11 size book, which is the size of that laminated document there and his.
Yeah, okay. So how can one reach you and how can one get the book?
Sure. So, Bernie, they can reach me or reach PDG Publishing at proton.me, PDG Publishing.
Say it kind of slow.
Sure. It's PDG Publishing at proton.me. So they can reach the publishing company there. And if they wanted to reach me, well, they can reach me on social media. I have several social media handles, all Dr. King Ya, Kingya, Dr. King Ya, or KingYaSpeaks@gmail.com, KingYaSpeaks@gmail.com.
Okay. So what's the price of the book?
So this book here is $15.99, and I decided to go with the price $15.99 because of the 16 years that I was sentenced to. I didn't do 16 years, but it's the years that I was sentenced to. So it has some significance. Everything that I do has some type of physical or spiritual significance. The release dates, the price of the books, those types of things.
Tell us about your degree. Tell us about how you changed your degree and from where.
Sure. So I've been on an educational journey most of my life. In fact, I struggled educationally as a child. I went from being dyslexic to teaching myself how to read, how to write at the tender age of 14. And so my educational journey began at a very early age. I did not obtain my education while incarcerated. I didn't get a GED or high school diploma. I spent a lot of time in a hole, isolation confinement. So it wasn't actually until I was released from prison that I ended up going to Job Corps, which offered me a second opportunity. And so I attended Job Corps, graduated Job Corps, and I later obtained my my GED as an adult. And the journey just continued from there. I just continued studying and educating myself and just learning what I could. And then I ended up going to seminary where I actually received several degrees. One, Doctors of Divinity. Ended up getting ordained as a licensed minister. Today I'm also certified as a chaplain as well. So I'm utilizing these certifications and degrees in what I call street ministry, which allows me an opportunity to give back to the community, whether it's giving back to the homeless community, feeding them, clothing them, because I was also homeless as well. And so that kind of hits hard for me. Being a former homeless individual that was address-less, that didn't have an address, I find these opportunities for me. I just want to give back, Bernie. Sure. I find these great opportunities to give back.
Okay, tell us what if we bought the book, what will we find inside the book? Are they in chapters?
Yes.
Okay.
So this book is comprised of about 30 chapters. The first part of the book talks about my last few days in prison, being released from prison, the hardships that I endured, being released or brought back into society, not fully being rehabilitated, the hardships of finding secure employment opportunities, the doors that were shut in my face, and it talks about the opportunities that I also obtained and was able to achieve as well. And sometimes it's not about a person's past, it's about how far they've come, their drive, their ambition. And a lot of employers, they saw my drive, my ambition, my tenacity, and they gave me an opportunity instead of keeping the doors shut in my face like most employers did, because I did have a felony on my record as a child, as a teenager, sure, which stuck with me.
So read us a passage from the book and tell us where it is in the book and why.
Sure. Before I do that, I share with you guys the dedication, because the dedication is very important as well. The dedication. This book is dedicated to my mother for her endless love and my dear children. May you always know the truth and that I will always love you. To victims of sex and human trafficking, may justice find you. To those lost to suicide due to abuse, you are not forgotten. To survivors of assault, keep fighting. You matter. Parents, love your children by listening and supporting them. To those who doubted or supported me, you've shaped me. This is for all of us, a testament to resilience.
Okay.
That's the dedication, Bernie.
Sure.
Let's see. The passage I'll share with you guys from the book.
Perhaps it'll be better if we just took a break now, but that way we'd have to come back and interrupt you.
Sure.
So we'll just take a short break now.
Okay, perfect.
Remind you, we're at the New Life Evangelistic Center. We're at 2428 Woodson Road in Overland, Missouri. And Reverend Larry Rice has been here for many, many years. And we need your help and support. As Dr. Arnie just mentioned that he's been homeless, and we know the plight of the homeless. Those unhoused, we want you to help us. Call New Life Evangelistic Center, area 314-421-3020, or Post Office Box 473, St. Louis, Missouri, 63166, or tax-deductible donations. Back with our guests after this.
God loves a cheerful giver. Even though things are really tough right now, you can make a difference in the lives of so many. New Life has been doing this work for 50 years, and we have seen God's gracious goodness through people like you who have participated in this work. There are so many people who are suffering. More people are becoming homeless for the first time with the rising costs of inflation and food and housing and so many other commodities. We need help. You can make a difference today in the lives of so many by giving your tax-deductible gift to P.O. Box 473, St. Louis, Missouri. Or go to newlifeevangelisticcenter.org or call to get involved in this incredible work.
Today's subject, James Baldwin, born 1924 in Harlem, New York, one of 5 children. You know, Baldwin was a storefront preacher for 3 years, starting at age 14. His writing started a way to escape his stepfather, and he attended Frederick Douglass High School and DeWitt Clinton High School. He graduated from high school in 1942 and moved to New Jersey to begin working as a railroad hand. In 1944, he moved to Greenwich Village, where he met Richard Wright and began his first novel, My Father's House. In 1953, he finished his important novel, Go Tell It on the Mountain, which stands as a partially autobiographical account of his youth. And the following year, he wrote the play, The Amen Corner, which won the Guggenheim Fellowship. Near the 1960s, Baldwin returned to the United States and became politically active in civil rights, that is. And he wrote novels, poetry, essays, and screenplays in the later years of his life. He died of stomach cancer in France. James Baldwin, great man, great poet, great writer.
As we feel the darkness pressing in upon us, both personal needs and needs in the world, society as a whole, it's easy for us to get depressed. And when we're depressed and negative and feeling hopeless, we're not going to be able to help anyone. That's why I daily have to draw strength from the Word of God. That's why I have to go on walks in the midst of the wonders of God's works. And that's why I have to be able to see something that's worked for many, many years in my life, is that Jesus Christ is the same yesterday, today, and forever, that He's with us always, even to the end of the world, and that we can be a light, letting His love and power flow in us and through us in a cold, dark world. There are people hurting out there. There's people that are crying out to God at this particular moment in the midst of their desperation. Can we be led by the Holy Spirit to them? Can we believe God to reach out and let His love flow through us and by faith help them meet their needs? That's the challenges that the Lord gives us in His Word. Experience the joy of really helping somebody else and letting the light and love of Christ shine in you and through you.
Welcome back. I'm Bernie Hayes. My guest is Dr. Perrie Daniel Gibson, also known as Yakanan Ami. You were going to read a passage from the book. What's the title of the book?
The title of the book is Live or Die Trying.
Now, where'd you get that title from?
So I was inspired by 50
Briefly.
Cent. Yeah, I was, for sure. I was inspired by 50 Cent's Get Rich or Die Trying.
Sure, okay.
And just life really inspired me. Okay. So hence, Live or Die Trying.
You want to read a passage from the book?
I do. Okay. This chapter, this title is called Single Fatherhood. It's chapter 11 in the book.
Okay.
And there's a song. Each chapter has a song. This song is His Dream by Asher Roth. But I'm going to read my passage now. Fatherhood was my greatest gift, but raising you on my own taught me that love is the most powerful force in the face of life's greatest challenges. A letter to my sons and daughters. My dearest children, the most challenging task a father has is protecting his children and his family. As I sit down to write this letter, my heart is filled with immense love and pride that the love and sacrifices of our journey have shaped the remarkable individuals you are becoming. This is a letter to you, my beautifully talented and loving children. You are approaching adulthood, and I find myself reflecting on the incredible journey we've shared, a journey filled with challenges, sacrifices, and above all, love.
Wow. Are all the chapters in the book as compassionate as that?
They are, Bernie. I decided to just speak directly from my heart. And the material in the book is raw, it's heartfelt, it's heart-wrenching, and it's real. And I wanted the book to have an impact. And I wanted to share my truth.
Okay. So the journey is the beginning, but this is book 3 of a 3-part series. Could you describe what the other 2 books are about?
Absolutely. So book 1 talks about my childhood from as far back as I could remember, from birth until age 12. Book 2 picks up age 13 through 24, where I was, falsely accused, locked up, incarcerated, and did time. Book 3 basically talks about my release from prison and the hardships that I've encountered since then. So I decided to go with book 3 first so that the people can kind of get a glimpse of what life was like for me and other prisoners coming out into the society, and some of the hardships that we melanated men have to face and endure, having a felony, having a background, being incarcerated, the hardships that we have to go through and endure. So, and then some of the other challenges that I experienced with divorce, custody battles, child support, things of that nature. So, and I'm offering resources in this book as well to those fathers that have experienced that type of hardship as well. Parental alienation, custody battles, child support, things of that nature.
How can we reach you, and how can we get the book?
Sure. So again, I could be reached. They could reach us through PDG Publishing at proton.me.
PDG Publishing at proton.me. M-E-me.
Correct. .me. The opposite of you.
Sure.
.me.
Okay.
Yeah.
And that's the website. That's the email address, right?
That's the email address.
Okay. Well, how can we reach you?
Sure. Well, they can also publish the book on Amazon. The book is available on Amazon. I could be reached at kenyaspeaks@gmail.com.
Spell Kenya Speaks.
So Kenya Speaks, K-I-N-G-Y-A.
Kenya. Okay.
Speaks at gmail.com.
Okay, and you're also on other platforms, right?
Yeah, we're on the social media platforms. It's just Dr. Kenya or just Kenya.
Dr. Kenya. Okay. Wonderful. Okay. Is there anything that you want to talk about that we haven't discussed?
Yeah, Bernie.
No, we only have a few minutes more.
Sure. I had an opportunity, Bernie, this year actually. I was working for St. Louis City. I was employed as a lifeguard, something that I'm also passionate about. I taught myself to swim when I was 8.
We only have about a minute,
Sure.
half a minute.
Sure. Yeah. And, because of these false accusations made against me, I ended up losing my job as a city employee. I also worked in the neighborhood stabilization department. And again, because of these false accusations made against me, I lost my job with St. Louis City.
Okay. I'm sorry to cut you off, but we're running out of time. But I just want to say thank you for being my guest today, and we look forward to the book, Live or Die Trying, and good luck with the book, and I hope you come back soon.
Thank you.
Thank you. And thank each and every one of you for supporting New Life Advanced Center. I'm Bernie Hayes. Until next time, have a good day.